All right, guys, let's start the show. Woo. Good morning. I haven't said anything yet, so. All right, so this is our 10th event, our 10th big event. We did 20 in total. So why we're here, I show this slide every year because I think it's important that you know we're here. We're here to learn, to listen, to talk to each other, to discover new products and services in the show floor, to have fun, to have a drink, of course, and be lucky and win something. All right? Reasons enough. I just want to talk a little bit about the SS Rotterdam because I hope you agree with me that this is just an amazing venue. I'm so lucky we found it. Thanks to my wife who discovered it by accident by Googling. She said, what do you think about the ship? I said, let's go for it. So the SS Rotterdam was launched in '58 and it started its maiden trip to New York a year later, and it did that for about 10 years, up and down New York, Rotterdam. They had maximum up to 670 or 47, you can read, a lot of guests in first class, and they had a lot of tourist class, but in total, a little bit less than 1,500 passengers. If you stay here in the room, well, your cabin split in two was what they had as their room. All right? It had over 700 crew. So it did this about 10 years, a little bit over 10 years. And then it became a cruise ship. So they redid the ship, they deconstructed the split between first class and tourist class, and became one class. You still had a lot of different room sizes and prices, like you do on every cruise. But so it cruised, it went to the Caribbean, and it went to Alaska, and it did some world trips as well. Yeah. And in 2013, it became a hotel. Yeah, this hotel. So it's not that old, actually. A little bit about rooms and the decks, because you've seen it's quite confusing. There are 12 decks, and I must say I went to the lower deck, the F deck, yesterday, because you can do guided tours here, and we visited the machine room, which is awesome. So, this is a promenade deck, and that's there. All right? So here's where the guest reception is, the sponsor area, and this theater, which is room A for us. 2 decks down is the main deck. That's where most of you came in, I think, or maybe not. But that's the main deck. That's where the hotel reception is. That's where the captain's bar is. Very important. Because behind the captain's bar, on the left is Honolulu and Guadeloupe, and on the right is Vancouver and Trinidad. All right, there are some signs there, but nevertheless, remember. Then we got 4 decks down is the wardrobe. So if you want to put your coat away, or you tomorrow morning maybe have some luggage, you can put it there safely. It's guarded tonight or tomorrow, whatever. There's a boarding dock. You can just hop on a water taxi and SS Rotterdam works for you. Yeah. Okay, let's do this from here. We are. I don't know why it says this all of a sudden. So we were here. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So 1 deck up is the upper promenade deck. There is the card room, which is the meeting room. So there is a private meeting room if you want to set up a meeting, business partners with customers, whatever. And there's also the grand bellroom for those who are going to the VIP dinner. It's just 1 deck up the upper promenade deck. Yeah. Then we've got 3 decks up is the sun deck. Now I could have done everything on the main deck because there's plenty of rooms there, but I so fell in love with the sun deck and the bridge deck that I said I wanted to have these rooms. You're going to see when you're there, there are lovely views. So sun deck is D, and the bridge deck has a sky room. I know it's complicated. You'll figure it out by the end of tomorrow. Okay, some facts and figures. 65 sessions plus 19 roundtables. So a lot of you to choose from. We got 93 different speakers from all over the world. This is not correct, because this was yesterday morning. 6 new registrations came in, and to urgently print those badges, so we're 420 now. 420. Yeah? So 60%. 60% is not from the Benelux. So they're from all over the world. I'll tell you in a second. 32 different countries. There are people here from Japan. There are some people here from Réunion, which is a very small island close to Madagascar in Africa. And they come here. I don't know why. This is quite interesting. 43% of you is at Engage for the first time. Stand up. Who is here for the first time? Stand up. All right. There are 16 people who came to an Engage event more than 8 times, or 8 or more. And I got one little statistic for you, that is, the most attending first name is Peter. Who are all the Peters? All the Peters, stand up. All right. Well, I just had the first name, though. Okay, so we got attendees from all over the world, like I said. And this is how it's distributed. I do this every year. Like the 6 ones who registered are not in there yet. Sorry. So it's almost correct. So 30% from the Netherlands. DACH is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. UK, Ireland, US. You can read that. So very interesting distribution. And I also every year people ask me how is the distribution, and they're talking about this. How many business partners? How many customers? How many IBMers? But and everybody focuses on, well, the sponsors focus on the customers. All right. Nevertheless, the business partners, a lot of them are speakers or booth personnel. Okay. So this is everybody. But for me, this is not important. From a user group perspective, this is important. All right. We've been doing this for 10 years, and I got a small graph for you guys. Again, the last one should be a little bit higher. So that's the distribution. We've been a lot of places, and I'm quickly going over to the places we were. Just quickly. So the first year we were in Brussels in the IBM Client Center, and our main speaker was Maribeth Raven. Remember her? In 2010, we were also at the Client Center, still a one-day event at that time with Alistair Rennie. Then we went to Antwerp, to the Crown Plaza, and Kevin Kavanagh was our main speaker. We had nice bags then. In Antwerp, we had Chris Crummy. We stayed in the same hotel twice. We had Chris Crummy coming over. Then we went to Leuven, still in Belgium. By the way, it was already a 2-day event. As of Antwerp, it was a 2-day event. We went to Leuven, and there we had 2 guest speakers, Louis Richardson and Scott Sauer. We went to Breda next, so the first time we went over the border to the Netherlands. And we had Katrina Truten and Kramer Reeves as our speaker. We went back to Belgium, to Ghent, beautiful Ghent, where we had Kramer Reeves again with a lot of other speakers being there. 2 years ago, we were at Eindhoven with Inicho Sa.
Those good-looking guys in the corner there.
I know you like the guys at the bottom there. They serve an awesome gin. We were in Antwerp last year in the zoo with Ed Brill and Jason Roy-Gary as our main speakers. Again, there were others, but just taking out a few. And this year, we're in Rotterdam. We have Bob Schultz and Richard Sheft. Okay, so just a quick story about how we came to be. Now I want to talk about a little bit about the champions. There are 42 champions presenting. All right, 60 of them, 60 in total are attending. They are not IBMers. They share their knowledge whenever they can. They evangelize. They reach across the entire IBM portfolio, not just ICS. They are thought leaders, and they're a social bunch. All right, talk to them. There are more about the champions. In total, there are 640 around the world. 150 of them are ICS, 250 are analytics, and there's some other branches as well there. There are only 10 lifetime champions. And this year, at Think, there were 2 new lifetime ICS champions announced, and we're lucky to have them with us, and that's Paul with us from the UK. Come on up, Paul. They deserve your applause, but I got a tiny present for them as well. There you go, guys. For nothing, I mean, they're really worth it. So, congrats again. And by the way, this is the Chimay Blue. It's a Trappist beer from Belgium, and it's really one of the best Trappist beers out there. Yeah. You love it. Well, no, you don't. You know you don't. But stay at home when you're drinking them. Thank you, guys. All right. A word about our sponsors. This event was free for everybody because of them. They are very generous. Visit their booths, visit their websites, listen, talk to them. Go to speech sponsoring, stay for speech sponsoring tonight because you will always discover a gem. Go to their sessions and hear your day. So, round of applause for all of them. Thank you. All right, a little bit practical info. I know you had already a little bit, but you received the beach bag. So use it this summer, and it's full of useful information, and there's some cool gadgets in there as well. We got an awesome Engage 2018 app on iOS and Android. Thank you, Paul. Where's Paul? Stand up, guy. Oh, he's all the way at the back. Paul did that. We got an event guide for you. It has sessions, agenda, floor plans. The weird thing is, we delivered I don't know if you've seen it, but we delivered the event guide to the printer, and it had some crop marks in there. I mean, everybody knows what the crop marks are at the corner. Well, the printer decided to print them as well. So a little bit unfortunate. I mean, they're the printers, they should know, right? So apologize for that. We have 5 simultaneous sessions and 2 roundtables. There is coffee, tea, juice, whatever. All the day available at the bar when you came in the sponsor area, on the right. There will be lunch at noon also in the sponsor area, cold and hot stuff. During tomorrow's lunch, you have the option of coming here for having a hopefully hilarious history of Notes and Domino and the event that shaped us, and then we're going to have fun there. Okay. So a quick look at your badge. At the top, you got the QR code, and it contains your name, email address, company, country, and Twitter ID. The sponsors have to ask you to scan them. All right? That's not just because of GDPR, it's just politeness. Okay? So just don't let them scan you because they can. They have to ask you for it, and if you give permission, they can. All right? The orange button means that you have access to the VIP dinner tonight. My wife will be at the entrance and she will not let you in otherwise. You have a special star for the IBM champions. The speech sponsor booth number is where you start the speech sponsoring tonight. So tonight, when Tony says we're going to start speech sponsoring, just move to the booth number with your number on it, and then that's where you start from, and that's all the number starts for. You got your name, company, Twitter ID, country as well. And on the back side, you got your agenda. And people always ask me, okay, this is Tuesday again. And tomorrow morning, they ask me, where's Wednesday agenda? Well, it's on. Just take it out, flip it over, and put it back in. All right? Oh, by the way, I see some people who haven't, probably guys who were here for the first time. I mean, this is the lanyard with 2 hooks. The idea is that you use the 2 hooks separate and not at once, so your badge will never flip over. So you can immediately spot the newbies there. All right? Okay. A little bit more. use Engage with Chief in your tweets, please, because there's a lot of people who can't make it here, and they will follow live, they will follow whatever we do here using this hashtag. Okay? Take pictures, tweet, they'll love you for it. We have a lot of breaks, so go to the booths, talk to each other. Upon leaving, turn in your badge. So if you leave tonight or tomorrow, turn in your badge and you'll receive a very cool anniversary gift. Okay? Next week you will receive, when I recovered, you will receive an email from me to fill in an evaluation. There will be a very nice prize as usual. This is also important, those who have parked here, if you go to the hotel reception desk, you can get a day ticket for 10 euros instead of 15. Okay? Just mention that you're from Engage, mention your name. They might check it, they got the list. They might check it, so mention your name, and then you can get a much cheaper parking ticket. Okay. The Wi-Fi, it's free all over the event. So far, it seems to work. I hope. Don't abuse it. Don't download big stuff. Because switch off your automatic app update is important. The speakers and the sponsors also use that same Wi-Fi. So, especially for speakers doing a live demo, I mean, they rely on the Wi-Fi. As a ship, there's no hardwired Ethernet. And if you're local, we prefer you to use 4G if you can, if your plan allows. Okay. Tomorrow morning, we start very early at 8 o'clock. We've got some great speakers. These are the sessions. So Christoph and Lewis are doing something on Domino performance. Tim Clark and Sharon talk about deploying Verse. We've got Luis Suarez, who is an expert in community building. Stefano and Kerrey are doing about building integrated apps. We've got Christian and René about the Connection Engagement Center. And we got Chris Bishop, who has a discussion about how can we improve engagement with universities and colleges. Okay, so go there. I mean, I really put good sessions in the morning to force you to get up and go there. For speech sponsoring tonight, we start a little bit before 6. We divide up in 18 groups. The sponsors have 2.5 minutes this year because we want to make it a little bit shorter. It's only 18 booths, so it's going to be quick. But we have breaks in between. Okay? You will need it, and the sponsors will need it as well. The bar is open courtesy of OpenNTF and Denote. They pay for the drinks there. There will be prizes. Tomorrow the closing session will be here in the theater. There will be some very cool giveaways, but you have to be here. And the bar is open until 6 o'clock, sponsored by Denote and Hassel. So thank you guys. Alright, I'm done. So, these are your keynote speakers. We got Huguette Rank, Bob Schultz, Daniel Baptiste, Bernd Geweer, Richard Scheft, and finally Andrew Manby. Alright? So, enjoy these 2 days. Learn, listen, share, have fun too, engage.
So good morning and thank you, Theo, for again an amazing conference in an outstanding venue. And I think it deserves a big round of applause. I really liked the history of the conference. I think I made a couple of them I did not remember. I remember Breda, I remember Anvert, and so on. So really very happy to be here again. It's really a great pleasure and a great honor, and really something I will not miss. But first, I really wanted to thank again Theo and all of the speakers and all of the champions for all what you are doing. And mostly we are here at Engage. Some of you had great session early this year in Switzerland for SNUG. I think last week in Prague was Sutoy with 80 people. And then coming on is DNUG, my friend from Germany, 17%. They will kill me if I do not mention DNUG. And, but also, if you go north to Norway, ISBG, and then, of course, Icon UK, and many others, Dynotes, and so on. So really, thanks everyone, thanks the user group, thanks the IBM champion, thanks to our clients who are contributing, because as Theo mentioned, most important thing here is to share, to learn, and for us to get your feedback and learn from you. And 2 years ago, I remember when Ini jumped into the role, mostly Theo made a significant lobbying to get her here, but very frankly speaking, you did a great job because you wanted her to understand what is Domino and what we needed to do about this community and this platform. And guess what? What happened? Well, Domino 2025, 10th session in Europe. How many of you did contribute? Stand up if you did contribute. Come on, don't be shy. Okay. So now, if you still believe in Domino 2025, I think you've got still something to share on your table, on your seat. Come on, guys. Very shy. Should we really? Okay, good. Okay. Otherwise, Bob will change the plan. You know, he's here, you know, looking at me and say, well, she said Domino is important in Europe, and now you're not raising it. Come on. So thanks to you for this feedback. Not only in the last year we talk about Domino, but also a lot has been achieved also in the collaboration part, mostly around Connection 6, around Orient Me, around a couple of name codes that you heard last year, and around what's on Workspace with Zoom. And what you will hear today is more around how we get it to the next level and about the integration. The last thing I really wanted to share is how we get it together. Because at the end of the day, this is a technology, but it is how it brings value to your company, how it brings and changes the outcome on the way you work, either getting Watson help you or either getting the integration. And it's all about the use case and what you are doing with it. So I really want to thank everyone for your participation. We are here to listen, to hear your feedback, to share the good stories. So don't be shy and enjoy a great conference. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce Bob Schulz. So clearly there was not better place for Bob to be here at the major user group for Engage. So thank you, Bob, for making it, and over to you.
Okay, hello, good morning. So as Theo said, I'm the new general manager for collaboration. I think 2 days after I was announced, Theo gave me an invitation to participate in Engage, and I've been looking forward to it ever since. The last few months have just been exceptional in terms of the time I've had to spend with the champions and the communities and the users and the business partners as I've been around the world. Meeting people, or I think for those of you that were in Las Vegas. And it's really exceptional to find a group of people that are so dedicated, so committed, so involved. And the innovation that's happening around Domino now is in large part due to your influence and your impact and your voice that you've had. So I saw a few people raise their signs up, but I understand there were, 22 jams around the world, and over 2,000 people participated. Roughly in the middle of February, we had a webcast, and we had almost 2,000 people that participated live in the webcast. We had 3,000 people by the 4 hours later that had listened to it. We had 1,200 comments. It was like a Twitter feed on the webcast. The comments were coming so fast and furious around it. And really, to see that kind of passion, that commitment, is something profound is happening around this community. And I want to add my thanks to you guys for what you've done and what you continue to do for us. So today, what I want to share, we'll see. Oh. Your VPN is off. Got it. We're all technologists, we can figure that out. So I wanted to really kind of set the stage. We're going to have Danielle talk about where we're at with Connections, and Richard and Andrew will do a great job of talking about Domino. And I want to set the stage for that by talking about how I see it all coming together as we go forward. And as I said, I've been out traveling and meeting the community and users, but also talking to analysts. I'm getting a perception of what's happening in the market. What are people concerned about? What are their pain points? What are the solutions you're looking for? And really there's some common themes that come back to me. The first, and it's almost cliche to say, right? The way we work is changing. Not just the tools and the process, but really the methodologies that we use in work. And we talk about being agile, really being dynamic teams, the way it's done, and content that might be anywhere in the world on many different sites that needs to come together to complete those projects. It's all about the outcomes. So when I talk to analysts, let's bring that all together. Then there's a need for a hub, right? A place of collaboration. And I want to share with you what that vision looks like. And I'll do it by really talking about a day in the life, right? Really talking about the customer journey. I'm going to use myself as the customer and walk through what's my day like when I start to use these tools fluidly, seamlessly, dynamically, back and forth, in and out. And so, as I come into my day, I have a variety of things that I need to get done, that I'm prioritizing in my mind as I come into work. And I want to see all that in one place. I don't want to have to hop around a bunch of different apps to find out what's going on. I don't want to look at a bunch of different channels from all the different apps to see where I'm at, what I need to do. I want to see it all in one place. And so I start my day out here with the Connections Engagement Center. It's my digital dashboard. It's where I can see the apps and the content. I can see the people. I can see the news and the information. And across my dashboard, besides the overview of the general things that are going on, I like to hone in on my executive corner. That's, as somebody new in the role, the team, and transmit what I'm trying to do and hear back from them, what they're trying to do, and make sure that we're all aligned and on the same page as we go forward. I have a tab on sales. Right? We're in the middle of the quarter. No surprise, there's a lot of attention on sales and deals and where I'm at. And then there's service and support, right? What's happening day to day with each of you. And so I'll start off at the Engagement Center because as somebody new, I'm just actually, in this example, I posted out information about our strategy, where we're headed, actually shared this presentation, the day in the life of and what it means and how we're going to focus on that in our roadmap. And there's been a lot of comments around it. And I noticed here that Caitlin has actually written something on this idea. But I don't know Caitlin. Not a surprise. I don't know a lot of people yet. I'm still learning. Right? So I can click on Caitlin, see who she is. I see she's an account exec. That's helpful. I can go further and see that she's actually an account exec inside my own team. So as I said, I need to get to know more people. But that's helpful. So now I'll reply to Caitlin within that context of, hey, you're in sales. I can see where you're coming from. Thank you for your information. Here's my thoughts on what you said. Let's advance the discussion. Now, it's good to start off the day looking at the blogs and engaging with people. It's a reaffirmation of the strategy that people are engaged, and the tone and the commentary that's going on there. But now I'm going to jump into sales because, as I said, we're in the middle of the quarter, looking for where things are and how I get them done. Now, when I come into the sales tab, you'll notice that there's two things that are highlighted in red. One is coming in from Box Relay, and one is really around pricing approvals that people are waiting for, need to get into. Now, I know that the contract approval was coming. The team had briefed me in my staff call yesterday on that. So we had a ship and partnership. We developed Box Relay Workspace. This is a template that is pre-constructed. There's various scenarios that are enabled in those templates. In this case, it's around managing my sales deals. Helping me see the expertise and the content and the applications that I need to manage that deal all in one place. Now I can look through the comments. I can read back on what's been happening here. You see that there's a note that says, I need to get Bob's sign-off by the end of the day. That's underlined. Watson's flag coming in from Domino. So as you'll hear, it's been wrapped with Node.js and brought into this environment in a modern digital workflow. So I can click on that, move forward, and I can see now that the deal has moved forward into the negotiation stage as I've approved it. You can also notice that Caitlin is involved in this deal. So It's a Small World, so given that I've just kind of engaged with Caitlin, I'll flag from Connections expertise, add a comment from my team, and move forward on this. Now, I've just been moving through Box, right? Box Relay, through Connections, through Workspace, brought in Domino. I did all of that without really talking about the applications that I was sitting in. I wasn't bouncing in and out of different places. I was really in that dashboard, in the collaboration hub, leveraging the events that are happening across those applications, working with the people that were experts in what I needed to get done to make it happen. And so behind the scenes, really, this is the app catalog that's making that possible. And you can see there's applications, Domino, Box, Connections, Watson. There can be your own developed applications, other ISV applications as we move forward, all sitting here, enabling you to create that dynamic experience around the work that has to get done. Now I'm going to move over to service and support. And again, Watson knows what I'm looking for in here. In this case, it's actually flagging that one of these support cases has a meeting going on. They've asked for me to participate in what's going on. And I can see that the meeting is already in progress. It's happening. A lot of things have actually are being discussed in this meeting already. So rather than disrupt it, I want to go click on moments. I want to get a summary of the timeline of the different discussion points that have been happening in this meeting so that when I join, I don't have people restart and explain to me where we're at. So I can see that, the meeting, the SWOT analysis, it's about the kickoff and the presentation that's going on. I can see that people are concerned about the timeline and how fast we can move as we make this happen. So now I'm going to join the call. And I can click in from my mobile and join that call because I'm going to get off stage here and continue the conversation and dialogue with others as we move forward. So the key, as we go forward and look at Connections and Domino and Watson, Work Services and Workspace, and really the broad set of application and sources of content, it's about how do we bring that all together? How do we integrate that into something that really helps drive the outcomes that you want in your business? And these outcomes can really make a difference in terms of speeding up the efficiency or the productivity of your teams. So one of the examples that we've given is in Innie's new team where she's in Watson Commerce. They're using some of these capabilities to integrate inside of the commerce tools, really inside of SAP in that case, because that's the place where people work. And our supply chain team is using it to manage disruptions in the logistics systems. And what we've been able to do by integrating all the different tools together is really drive resolutions from taking days to hours. And that's because we can assemble the right teams quickly in one place with the information that they need to move things forward quickly, with Watson actually analyzing different disruptions that have happened in the past and making recommendations on what to consider in this particular instance as we go forward. So we call that intelligent workstream collaboration. I hope you can kind of get a sense of where we're going and how it all comes together. I'm going to let Danielle actually take it a step further and share with you what's going on inside of Connections.
Let's see if you guys can hear me. Okay, there we go. Just going to get rid of our little VPN issues here. Good morning. You guys are well? Thank you for having me. This is my first Engage, so I'm very excited to be here with all of you. I'm going to get into a little bit more detail, if we can get the beeping to stop. Let's see how they do. Okay. I'm going to do it this way. So intelligent workstream collaboration, you heard Bob talk a little bit about it. Really, this is the net. We want to make every person in your organization behave like the most connected person that has all of the knowledge right at their fingertips, the most proactive person, right? And we want to get everyone to be able to behave in this way. Every CIO pretty much these days has digital transformation on their roadmap of what they're looking to accomplish. But if we really look at it, what's happening in the market right now, not many have actually achieved that digital transformation in the way that they really, really want to. If you look at some of the studies that are done by Gartner and other analysts, they talk about the need to have agility in the way that you're collaborating. And this is a way to achieve that digital transformation. So there's a couple of key points on how we are helping you achieve that transformation. So one, you just saw Bob talk about the way we're unifying the portfolio. So that is a huge focus for us. Last year we talked a great deal about pink, right? We heard about the vision of pink. And so that's very foundational to the way that we'll continue to move forward, and it remains the foundation of how we're moving forward. But as you'll see, we're putting a lens on it where we talk about outcomes and what's necessary for your business to achieve that digital transformation. So unifying the portfolio gives us the opportunity to have a fully integrated experience in the things that we need to accomplish, not only with the IBM products that you may have, but also with the other tons of other applications that you have, right? We're continuing to move forward on making sure we can do those integration pieces. The second key piece is enhanced human workflow. So you saw some of the workflow pieces that Bob called out. We referencing Domino, pulling in Box Relay to do some of those things. You'll hear more and more from us, and I'll actually talk to you about what's coming next as we talk about enhanced human workflow, threading together your user experiences. And then finally, augmented intelligence. So you hear about us doing this with Watson, the way that we're applying cognitive systems into the data that we have, so that way we can actually surface new insights out of that and make our jobs a bit more efficient, and certainly make our customers have a competitive advantage over their competition. So pink. So last year we talked about pink. We talked about it as a strategy and a journey, and you've all been on that journey with us. We did a number of workshops with a lot of our key partners on how to stand up our new pink environments. We learned tons of new things from you in the process. Customers have started adopting Connection 6 as a step down that path. And we'll talk through a couple of the other things that we've released in the last year to start down that journey. And we're going to continue on that journey. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the roadmap. We talked at Think in sort of higher level pieces, and we'll get into a bit more detail today. So our guiding principles remain the same. And you heard Bob talk about people being the center of collaboration, and that is paramount and a differentiator for the way that we collaborate. Collaborating around a document doesn't actually allow you the opportunity to glean insights that you really can versus when you do so around people and the things that they're doing. So we'll talk about employee engagement, and by having engaged employees, you not only have happier and more productive employees, but you're actually running a more efficient business. And doing more intelligently, so threading through that cognitive factor, and the way that we do that in this integrated portfolio, you're going to be able to see those differences, as Bob was talking about a few minutes ago, to be able to change as we learn new things. And so by having a portfolio that is open, where we are able to integrate in other applications, we have the opportunity to flex and change as our businesses flex and change. So a couple of things from this past year. So we really made it clear that we are going to continue down this path with Pink, We developed a lot of new skills. Hopefully, a number of you have been able to participate in some of our IBM Champion discussions, as well as our showcases. We also have done a number of stand-ups where we've invited customers to actually participate with our engineering teams to hear specifically what we have going on in certain sprints and ask the question, is this something that really matters to you that will make a good positive change for your business? And you've actually been able to influence exactly how we're doing things, both in our engineering work and what actually gets brought into the market. We've learned a few lessons along the way as well. We want to make sure that we're able to balance out costs, for example. A lot of you came to us and said, listen, with these new technologies, as we're making this path, right, where we're going from one technology to the next, do we need to stand up parallel environments? How can we be more cost effective in doing so? So we've been able to tailor the way that we're doing things along the way, thanks to all that feedback that you've given us. So now let's talk a little bit about some of the execution pieces. So Connection 6, we launched last year, as well as an additional CR that we've made available. So hopefully you've been able to either try Connections if you don't have it already, or starting to think about taking advantage of Connection 6 and the new things it brings forward. Improved user experiences, a more contemporary UI. Up here on the screen you see Orient Me, which provides a nice opportunity for your end users to have a personalized experience in leveraging Connections. I, for one, have found this incredibly valuable in summarizing, for me, all the important things that I need to keep track of, whether it's the multitude of communities I participate in, the various wikis that I'm leveraging, etc. So it's very helpful. And finally, tailoring connections with your organization through Customizer was made available. While many people have a lot of customizations that they've done on premises, Customizer was launched to allow our multi-tenant cloud customers to actually do customization so they can make it look like their organization, even in the multi-tenant cloud. And you're going to hear more about what we're going to do with Customizer on-prem in just a minute. And then finally, we've now integrated with Watson Workspace, as well as WebEx and soon Zoom as well. Connections Engagement Center, as you may know, is something that we brought into market via IBM last year. It was an IP acquisition that we had done, and we've made some changes as we've gone to fully integrate it into the Connections portfolio. This gives us a really nice opportunity to centralize communications and conversation, and you saw it in Bob's day in the life as well up on that screen, and the way he's demonstrating how he can get a snapshot of all the different things happening across his different organizations as a business and help with his workflow throughout the day. Watson Workspace. So we've launched Watson Workspace Essentials last year, and then Plus just this past quarter. So Plus incorporates Zoom video. We have a fantastic opportunity to not only leverage a summarization of our conversations in our chats and in our spaces, and a lot of you end up talking to a lot of us actually through Watson Workspace now, which has been a terrific way to make sure we have an open dialogue going on. But you can find that summarizing those moments and applying Watson to provide insights along the way can be incredibly powerful. And as we make progress toward the day in the life scenario that Bob has shared with us, where we can have that workflow integrated throughout and actually take action based upon the conversations and the dialogue that we're having throughout, it becomes very powerful. As you know, IBM has a strategic partnership with Box. One of the things that we showcased earlier is our integration with Box Relay. So being able to provide workflow gives us a compelling opportunity to collaborate across not only our own teams, but other teams as well. An active workflow dashboard, group assignments, and other advances are available. And soon we'll have event-based workflow launching with API support. For IBM Domino, I'm going to have my colleague Andrew Manby talk to you a bit more about what's happening with their roadmap in detail in a couple of minutes. So I'll leave that for Andrew to talk you through. And the ecosystem. So this is really all of you. A lot of our Our very important partners are in the room here today. You've heard me mention Zoom and WebEx, and there's so many others, and a lot of them are being showcased outside that we'll talk through later. But our ecosystem is incredibly important to all of us in the way that we are not only able to leverage the things that our partners are doing and being able to showcase for them inside of the portfolio that we have, but it brings us new opportunities to have new outcomes based upon the things that matter most to each of you. So special thanks to all of our partners for all of their hard work and the new compelling things that they're bringing forward every day and the technology that they're using. So let's talk about the roadmap a little bit. So as I mentioned earlier, there's sort of three key areas that we're focused on. The unified portfolio, so bringing together our portfolio, giving you one experience for which we can actually start to integrate in all these other pieces. Enhanced human workflow, so making sure that we're not only connecting a document through a workflow process, but we're actually helping people connect and approve and follow things through in the ways that they need to do and connecting various applications. And finally, intelligence and personalization. So this is where we're threading our ability to apply augmented intelligence through the portfolio as well. So these three pieces you're going to see me focus on as we talk through the roadmap just now. And I'm breaking it down into what's here right now, what's going to be coming up next, as in the next 3 to 6 months, so right in front of us, and what's a little bit more future looking. And I will comment as well that Renee and I are going to, tomorrow morning, I think at 9, go through much more detail on this as well. So right now, the key right now is to upgrade to version 6 of Connections. That way you can start to take advantage of a lot of the new things that are available to us, and hopefully you'll have conversations here that enable you to get any information you need to do that. You'll see many more screens from us on exactly what all those new changes look like. And if anyone has questions, please follow up with me afterwards. I'm happy to take you through more detail. Connections Customizer is a key piece that is also available now, as well as metrics. Orient Me, as I mentioned, is incredibly compelling for your personalized user experience. And of course, Watson Workspace is now available as well. So when I said next, I said in the next 3 to 6 months. And one of the things I want to talk about is when Bob was on stage and he demonstrated where we're bringing Watson in. You hear us talk so much about Watson because it really is the next big step in order to differentiate your business and to really create some advantage in digital transformation for your organization. That being said, I'm going to just address the elephant in the room. Everyone asks me this. All right, so are you just focused on cloud now? We're absolutely not just focused on cloud. It's a very big piece of the story. That being said, we have a very strong customer base that is on premises. We, number one, will continue to support that customer base, but we also consider it a compelling competitive advantage in the market. So you will continue to see as I talk through this roadmap and how we're delivering things on premises now. So number one, and for those of you who I've met with in this past year or so, understand that for me it's all about simplifying the user experience in order to make sure that we're driving adoption and being able to get the most out of our collaborative portfolio. It's important that our end users find it easy to use and can get what they need quickly. So we are continuing to advance to a consumer-grade user experience. So our communities are going to continue to be updated, and you're going to see a major change come through for community landing pages. You're going to see us simplify. We have different editors in different places right now. You're going to see consistency throughout with one editor. Customizable community notifications, which many have been asking for, as well as newsletters, so that you can tailor things to be in the context of what you're referring to connections at your organization. Files navigation, so making the experience in leveraging files and connections and the way you're viewing things and sorting things and all of those experiences right now, we've heard from you. They can be a bit disjointed. So we are making some very nice enhancements there, which we'll show you when you come to Renee's session tomorrow. We're also doing other on-prem UI enhancements. You may have heard us in Pockets talk about something called Project Periscope. It's the way that we're leveraging Customizer to contemporize the views that are available in Connections today. It's already available on cloud now, and we're going to be making it available on premises as well. And finally, customizable and shareable templates for Watson Workspace. So you heard Bob talk about the deal room, which is a template. We're going to be releasing new templates and also making end users able to share them as well. And finally, metrics changes that you've been waiting for. So as we've moved away from Cognos as our metrics solution, and we've moved to Elasticsearch, you've asked us for some additional things like data migration as well as data export, in addition to being able to retain your data longer. So we've heard you loud and clear on that, and you're going to see that change coming very soon. As we look to the future, and we continue to work toward bringing that portfolio closer together, leveraging cognitive, you're going to see our people service. So if you think about things in the context of profiles, when Bob pulled up the business card and you saw Caitlin, Caitlin up there, that was a glimpse in the first iteration of the people service, right? So you've got a new UI, you've got new business card. You're going to be able to actually see Watson Workspace and Connections sharing the same profile service through this people service, which will be a very big step forward in the way that we're connecting each other. Future iterations of that we'll talk more about, but that's where you really start to see how we're leveraging our connections and building our social graph and knowledge graph to actually advance how we do business in context. The next piece, we're doing some foundational work with Watson Work Service. We're looking at how we can actually allow Connections on-premises customers leverage that data on-premises, but leverage Watson services in the cloud. So Watson Work Service is not something that can be delivered on premises, but we're working to ensure that we can actually allow you to leverage the data you have on-prem and keep it securely there, and leverage these services in cloud. We'll talk to you more about that as well. Intelligent meetings via Watson Work Service. So you saw what's happening with meetings now in Bob's presentation. In the future, we're targeting actual summarization as the meeting is going on. So you can actually keep up to date as you step in and out of a meeting, and you can actually see a summary and a transcript of all of those things with intelligence threaded through it. And finally, Orient Me Next. So increased personalization as well as applying cognitive insights through Watson. And then integrations with key business applications. So you're going to see us doing more regarding Domino, Grid, Salesforce, others, in the way that we actually can do that workstream collaboration, that human workflow that we've been talking about. So we're going to get into much more detail in the next today and tomorrow. So up here, a number of the sessions, Renee Schimmer is here from Offering Management, Kurt Degani is here from Watson Workspace Offering Management, Christian Holsing, and a number of others. We have some folks from engineering here as well. So I encourage you to come talk with us so we can talk through the details with you. And most importantly, we love to hear your input and your feedback as we're going on the journey together. So please make sure that you share that with us along the way. And now I'd like to call up a very important customer. Bernd is going to share with us how he has already been able to work with his team to build some really powerful integrations across the portfolio and what that means for his business. So please join us, Bernd. Thank you.
First of all, I have to learn how the clicker works here. If it does, it does. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me to have this stage opportunity to just present to you how we are using the IBM Ics Portfolio right now. You heard a lot of the future. This is what is possible now just using Domino and Connections and Watson Workspace, right? So this is, the title is The Business Extranet, because we have talked so much about social intranets that I want to go one step further and introduce all that stuff to the extranet. and invite people to collaborate with us. Because our main theory is there is no business in the enterprise. The business is between enterprises, isn't it? We have to go outside the enterprise barrier to just have that business supported. So it's the business extranet, what I'm talking about. Not only, but also. So, as civil engineers, we are doing planning, construction supervising, and project management in large infrastructure projects. So what we do is something you may never recognize, but you use our products every day. You walk on the streets, you drive in trains, and you use train stations as well that we may have planned for you. So we work regardless of the place we do it. So work anywhere is an important thing to do for us. And not only that, it's with any device, but that story is old, isn't it? Work with any device, we heard that for years, but there may be something different. We work really with everybody. Collaboration outside the enterprise barrier is the business we are in. We're always doing work with external people. There is no project without some externals. So this may be the special thing if you are in the business of civil engineering. You have to collaborate as your core business action, right? So what we have then is we have the IBM Ics Portfolio for more than 20 years now. And that was not only my decision, but it was happening when I joined Fressing in '97. Right? So what we do is focus on employee experience. We have knowledge workers. Nearly all of us are knowledge workers. We have no blue collar. We have just white collar workers. And we have the employee experience and the customer experience, and it is not two different things. They are using the same tools, right? They are collaborating on what we offer to them day by day. So what we have to leave is the thinking of enterprise IT. Enterprise IT was the last decades, right? For us now, it's business IT. Support what we sell. Support people in collaborating with each other, internally and especially externally as well. So it's very important to have that in mind when you do your software solution picking, for example, in your shortlisting and decision processes. And we have made a short criteria list. Everything we want to have must be cloud-based. Everything we want to have must be usable for employees, but not only for them, also for external users as well, for guests of connections, for example. And everything should have a single sign-on that we can use because we want everybody to have a seamless experience in what we do. You know, we forced people in the last decades to become application experts. And that's not what they are supposed to be. They are supposed to be business experts in what they sell, in what they do. And now, why shouldn't we just step back from that application expert thinking and just offer a seamless expert experience for all them to them just do what they have to do, but not be an application expert to achieve my current goal. So yes, single sign-on, and what I did not mention because it's so naturally to have that is they all have REST APIs to just connect them together. They must have event APIs like webhooks or something like that to listen to what was happening when I was not listening to the stream out there. And so we can pull all that together and make beautiful integrations inside of IBM Connections right now. It's not tomorrow and not next year, it's right now and it's done. I can show you afterwards if you want to see it, what we have achieved. So the first step was to just the classical portfolio, right? To just move that to the cloud. That was happening early 2017. And now we have a mail, chat, social meetings, files, also the office experience. Planning is Autodesk in much parts of our projects, and Adobe Cloud, all that is cloud-based solutions, all that is federated identity with our Active Directory, so people just open the tool and work there. They're already logged in because of the federation. We have IBM ID federated with our Active Directory, and that's working perfectly, right? So open Watson Workspace, be right logged in. Do nothing, just work. Don't care about login, right? And we are hoping that the other solutions of the ICS portfolio will follow that way also, because this is something to do. So, and then the maybe most special thing at Fassing is we don't have an ERP system. We don't have a CRM system. We don't have an HCM system. We don't have an ECM system. Right? Shall I continue? We have Domino applications. And we did that for 20 years, optimizing to our needs. And every time we compared to the solutions out there, we found our way is the lowest TCO we can get. You know, it was about 20 times more expensive to go on SAP than we did with Domino. So, now what we face, like you all, is the explosion of apps. There is an app for that. And there is a better app for that than we have offered so far. So we made a step in our heads. We said, why not embrace shadow IT? Why not make it a part of our natural work experience? You have to embrace what you can't fight, right? So if all those tools are there and people insist of using them, why not making it a seamless experience inside of our extranet, what we do? So there is one important thing in the middle. And this connections icon there in the middle has a little lock on it. This is the point of security. This is the point where you have to log on. And now all the other apps have to be implemented by using their APIs and present them inside of the connections experience. And this is what we did. It's ongoing and it will never end, but what we did is this. We thought to have to learn for REST APIs. It was new for us 2 years ago. We had to learn about that. And now that we understood what REST APIs and webhooks can do for us, for fetching data out of systems, for listening to the events out in the systems out there, and for triggering transactions right in the backend system without even opening the UI of the backend system, then we understood we need not more than we have. We need a Domino application that is just taking all that API structure and data and putting this up to a connections community app. And you can do it today. No need to wait. All you need is a Domino server. And well, if you have a Domino utility server, you can do that for connections guests also without having more licenses in place, right? So this is our setup. And then you can just add one app in a month if you want, right? So the first thing we achieved is to have a files experience in connections in a community which is based on our global file system. So what you work on your drive as an employee can be shared to a community, and they can download, upload, and do things with files out there in the community, right in the project folder. And there is no copying, no uploading, no barrier between moving and working with content. It's just the same content offered in the web UI than we have on our drives, right? And this is not using Box or SharePoint or OneDrive or whatever. It's just the drive solution we use, offered also as a connections community app. And we will continue to add more APIs to that, because now we have that files widget thing. And we have understood how to place that into connections. We can add more APIs from below to offer OneDrive, Google Drive, Autodesk BIM 360 Drive, and whatever drive solution, it must have a REST API and an event hook for us to do what we want to do. But then, if it has, it is implemented in about a month or so, right? Okay, next steps are, why not doing a central mailbox experience where everybody could just drop his mails he wants to share with the community into that common mailbox to just do something together. You know, you can't share mails, and that is a problem. You can only forward them or answer to them, and not being able to share a mail keeps the mail loop growing, right? And what we achieved with this approach is you get a mail, you receive, this is something that you have to share to a community, and then you just put it out into the common mailbox thing in the Connections community there. Connections events and Connections activities could look like this. If you would just use a Kanban style UI and add the API of Connections activities below them, right? It's kind of a 1.5 month work we have in front of us, but we will do this, and this is how Connections activities will look in about June, July, or August. Let's see. Next was issues. We recognized there were a lot of issues tracking solutions out there, and we will have issues and connect the APIs of the issues delivering systems, which can also be Gyro or whatever. And well, for sure, there is a high demand for meetings and to talk to each other. And so the meetings experience, this is what's in Workspace in rooms. And so our table from Düsseldorf just extends to Berlin, and we talk to each other like being in the same room, you see? This is what we do. Well, now, this was the customer experience, bring all that stuff together and work with customers as well as with partners. And now there is something left, you know, you have to do leave requests as an employee. You have to do purchase requests. You have to do your timesheet. You have to recognize what is going on in all these enterprise apps we have on Domino. And so what we did is, guess what? We took the Domino applications we have and we left them just like they are because they were 20 years optimized, perfect solutions for the problem. But we did a web UI that is responsive upon them, and we did one web UI upon all of these apps. So you have one web UI serving the data of all our Domino apps, and that one gives us the opportunity to integrate this into Connections very, very deeply. And on your personal homepage, you will see Peter raised that purchase request that you have to approve now. And you can click on that, and the embedded experience opens and lets you just click approve. This is something you can do with Domino apps today, not in the near future. This is what it looks like, and this is not a mock-up. So this is my self-service link here in the Connections UI, right, on Cloud. And as you know, this is the reusable header bar from Connections Cloud, just placed into our application. And this is me, and these are the business application contents that I can work on. So this is doing my timesheet. Well, this is doing my leave request. This is doing my purchase request approval discussion, right? This is doing project references where we have to show customers that we are people who know our job to get the next contract signed, right? And this is the project reference document that we can share with customers. And this all is done just with Domino X pages, just with the existing connections, not with the connections of tomorrow. And what we did is just to reform all our apps to have it as a single UI experience available through Connections, just by having that link up there to your self-service, right? And now this is what you can do today and not have to wait for tomorrow. But what are our next steps, right? And the next steps are working in that circle. Find the next use case, understand the problem, add your expertise as a software developer to what could be better in the next step of this process, and then integrate that to the whole thing. And well, the conclusion I want to share with you is, if your business relies on collaboration, You should choose a partner that really understands collaboration, right? And this is why we chose IBM for 20 years. Thank you very much. As I'm new in that role, I have to introduce the next speakers, right? So, no, I don't. Okay, so I'll just leave.
far are you going?
About 30 years.
My DeLorean anywhere? Anyone got my car keys? Oh, you know, we hit 88 miles an hour. Bang! Oh, it's killing me. Has anyone seen Marty or Einstein? Marty! Einstein, where are you? Hey, Marty, how you doing? Good to see you. How you doing?
Hey, what happened with the flux capacitor? Did it backflash?
It looks like it worked. Look, you know, we were there with Ray Ozzie, you know, when he was announcing version 1 of Domino back in, you know, in 1989.
1989? Are you sure we're in 1989?
I don't know. Should we find
We
out?
need to find out. I got a question. Who is the President of the United States? Anybody? Yes, please. We'd like to know where we are. Who's the President of the United States?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump?
Really?
The real estate guy with the crazy hair? Come on.
So, Marty, who's the vice president then?
It's got to be Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah. The first lady?
The first lady? Madonna?
Madonna? Yeah.
Like a virgin, right?
That's great. Thanks so much for playing along.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I would have came in the skateboard, but unfortunately, I left it in Vegas. Somebody else is
Ships
riding
and
around.
skateboards don't go together,
This
right?
is true.
Yeah.
I was forewarned. I was a little bit nervous. So, and I've had a couple accidents recently, so I didn't want to fall again.
Yeah. So,
But,
I'm Andrew Manny. This is Richard Jeffs.
Thank you very much for everybody being here. This is my first Engage show, so I am super excited. And I do want to thank Theo and the rest of the team for inviting Andrew and I and the rest of the IBMers and HCLers and for us to give you a little bit more insight into some of the great things we're doing with Domino, right? So why don't you take it away?
Let's go away. Okay, so this is my second Engage. This is the first time I've been up on stage. So, you know, we did these jams, tremendous responses, you know, Bob talked about and Huguette talked about. And we fed that into one backlog, right? And I think within 2 weeks, we sat down there, we had Barry, and we had all of the team, and we came up with a backlog, and that's when, you know, version 10 came about. You know.
How many of you are excited about version 10?
Woo!
All right. So I think one of the key things for us when we were thinking about version 10 and kind of the little bit that we just did
is we want to go back, right? We want to go back to what made Domino great, right? And what made Domino great was the apps. So for us, you're going to hear a bit about what we're doing on V10, but we're also excited to give you some insights into what's after V10, right? So between Andrew and I, we've talked to many customers. We've talked about the journey that we're on here and these three major areas that we're focused on. But I can tell you every single time we talk to a customer or partner, the same question I get asked is, all right, what's V11, right? Yeah. What's V12? So we're going to give you some insight into 11. We're going to give you some insight into some of the things we've already done, right? So for those of you who've heard Andrew and I speak in the past, one of the key things for us at HCL is we want to show you what we've done, right? Less PowerPoint, more code, things that are demoable, things that we're actually building in the lab every single day, right? So we're excited to show you some of the new things that we've done since Think. And and we're also excited about the progress that we've been able to make across the partnership.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think the webcast that we did with all those 3,000 people that watched the webinar itself is every single time we come to an event, every single time we do something, we have a webcast, we show you a little bit more.
Right.
And we have more to show you. There's 19 sessions at the event today and tomorrow, all about this topic. So between IBM and HCL, you're going to get the next installment. You're actually going to hear some new news as well. So there's going to be a big focus at this event, right, really around the total cost of ownership. This is actually showing an animation that the HCL team put together, and Tony Blake, whoever was in the house, was Tony? He's right over there? Yeah, he is. Yeah. Oh, Tony is the guy who actually led development of this. So I think, this is a rather interesting asset. It tells the value proposition of the total total cost of ownership story around Domino. Right? And there's going to be more of these. And it's all part of us improving the go-to-market experience and informing people about the value of what we're actually doing.
And one thing on that, just hearing from Bern, 20x to go to SAP, right? 20x. I mean, that is, and that's just one part of the offer that you've built, right? And what a compelling story, by the way. Fantastic story.
Yeah. All right. So in the spirit of actually showing you something net new, and hopefully, yes, it's working. Yes. So what we're actually showing you here, how many times you sort of said to yourself, well, I wish I really knew what some of the performance pieces were in Domino and what was sort of going on. Well, this is another innovation that HCL is sort of bringing. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is an application performance monitoring tool called New Relic. And the team have built a specific Domino stats plugin for it. So what you're seeing here is a New Relic dashboard. Whether you have a free or a paid account, you can access the plugin, and you have access to over 2,000 stats. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. It's quite incredible. So you can basically customize the visualizations however you want, in what sort of form that you want, and it covers the major areas of the product, like the database, replication, and mail.
Applications as well, obviously. And Russ Holden, for those who don't know, is the chief architect for Domino, and has been engaged in building aspects of Domino for many years. And Russ is going to be here, and he's actually the lead for TCO for us. So please grab Russ. Russ will be at our booth, and feel free to have him show you this, right? Again, we want to be able to demo this for you, so feel free to leverage Russ while he's here.
Yeah, and this is something that I know you've had internally for a while. This is also something that the DevOps team use in the cloud.
Correct.
So it's all good, proven technology. All right, let's move on. So I want to mention one thing that didn't come through loud and clear last year, and that was the Domino Community Server. How many people know what that is? Okay, so a few of you, right? So there's a lot of hard work done by that man there, Barry Rosen, to create a no-cost developer license for Domino. So whether you're doing it for training, whether you're doing it for application development, you can go to this URL and download a free copy at no cost to you, right? So it's part of our commitment to make sure that you have access to the development tools, and that's something that we're going to continue with. If there are other ideas that you have, and we got a lot from the jams, if there's other ideas of things that we can change to improve our licensing or how we distribute the product, we'd love to hear it.
Yes.
Right? So keep that feedback coming.
Please.
Okay, so the swoosh slide,
Yeah.
Richard, yeah?
Yeah, so we briefly, I think many of you know the focus on V10, right? So first, it's all about app development, and you've seen some progress there. The progress that we were able to make with Node.js, and the continued work that we're doing there, right? You've also seen a lot happen as well around mobile apps, right? For those of you who have seen Notes running on the iPad, hopefully another good win for the team. And we're really excited about the progress we've been able to make there and the continued progress we're going to make over the next couple months that we have for V10. And then obviously the third one is TCO, right? And for us, when we think about these shows and the message that we want to deliver, what we've been trying to do is really take a key area of focus. And as Andrew mentioned, TCO is one of them, but we also want to give you some insight into V11.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would sort of say when it comes to V11, people keep asking about it, and let's just sort of clarify what's going on here. So for those of you that are that participated in the webcast, do you remember? Anyone? February 28th? Do you remember what you were doing back then? Right, we actually had a little survey, right? And we clicked on the button and we said, well, do you want a release every year, every 18 months, every 2 years? And you came back and you said, you want a release every year, right? And if you look at some of the themes that we have around it, it's the same type of thing. Going back to our roots around application development, improving not only what you have today, but also augmenting and enabling the citizen or the business developer. It's also, there's a big theme in V10 about mail, and we have Ram and we have Gab who's actually going to be doing some sessions, and also there's a big webcast this week that hopefully everyone will participate in. You'll see some new stuff as well that we haven't shown before, so watch out for that. Certainly we'll be doing more in the mail area around protocols and things such as EWS. And then we're also going to improve the further TCO around lights out operation, because we realize that you want to run this in a dedicated private cloud as well as sort of public cloud offerings.
Excellent. And one key thing for everybody to know is, so as Andrew mentioned, we want to follow that year delivery cycle, but many of you should know that we're already working on V11. So we've already taken squads, and we already have people focused on that next release. Ooh. And so for us, the key for us is how do we run this in parallel? How do we get this V10 out in that, when is V10?
No, we're going to come to that. We're going to come to that, right?
Sorry, I know. I don't work for IBM anymore, so I can say what it is if you want to really know. Sorry. But I think for us, V10 is one of those major milestones. But I think, as I noted, I think the key is that that we're going to continue to invest, right? And we're going to continue to listen to what all of you and the rest of our customers are saying. And the great thing is we have the ability, based on the way we're building software, to adjust very quickly, right? We're not doing that long monolithic waterfall development anymore. We're running in 2-week and 4-week sprints. So we're able to adjust much easier than when we were in the past.
Yeah, so adding, like the playback zeros, participation in that. We're going to be doing some more targeted jam type events as well as sort of doing some online forum stuff as well. So we'll continue to engage. Now, the next piece of the story that I want to talk about, which is some of the things that we've heard from you, right? Which is, when it comes to sort of, taking your applications out of the data center and then thinking about cloud and whatever that means, hybrid cloud, dedicated or private or public cloud. These are some of the things we hear on a regular basis. Can I move a little bit? Can I try my apps out in the cloud? Can I move my development a little bit at a time? If I'm an ISV and I'm developing apps, what can I sort of take advantage of from an IBM perspective in the cloud? And then lastly, can I sort of transition some of that workload to different types of places? And, this is all part of the thinking that I know goes into not only around version 10 with some of the TCO stuff, but also what people like Jason are thinking about and Russ are thinking about for version 11 as well.
And I think, just building upon, and Danielle mentioned the importance of premise for on-prem for connections. Our positioning from an HCL perspective as well as IBM is that we want to walk our customers to the cloud, right? When they're ready. Our belief is that we, especially here in Europe and pockets of Asia, a lot of our customers are not ready yet, right? And so our positioning is we're going to continue to build the offer. We'll focus on cloud, but at the same time, we're not going to be forcing anybody to go there, right? But we'll walk you when you're ready.
So with that, on that point there, thank you, Richard.
Sure.
So today, this is a exclusive announcement here, now, at Engage. So you're the first ones actually hearing it. If you go out to this URL, what you'll see is the Domino Apps on Cloud offering that the services team have been working on, right, for a period of time, that currently has customers. Let me move away so you can sort of see it. That has customers on it today, is live on the IBM Marketplace. So. So go out there, check it out. There's a trial license. You know, people have been trying it already. They've been onboarding. They've been using the service. The way we sort of charge for it is really it's a managed service pricing. So we're charging by the NSF. Hopefully that's good news for everyone. Yeah. That makes sense. And then from your Domino license perspective, today it's a bring your own license. Now, so that's available today. Go and check it out if you have any questions. Now, there's a session. I can't see David Bird. Where's David Bird? Hey, there's David. And where's Stuart? And there's Stuart. They are both together. They're up there. So they have a session together, and they're going to talk about the best practices of moving to the cloud. And they're also going to talk about what your options are around this as well. So check out their session. Look for David Bird and Stuart McKay. Okay? The things that we're actually working on based on our your feedback is that you want a combined price for hosting and subscription. So combine that all together. So not only have the DevOps cost, but also the license included. The other thing that we're going to make available is a container-based pricing in the future that works for anyone's cloud, right? So if you want to stand up your own private cloud or dedicated cloud and need a license to be able to run Domino apps in that environment, we're going to do that. And then the last thing here is, which is also important, there's a free edition, there's going to be a free edition tier to get you started. So if you want to, not only if you want to try it out, if you want to do tests, you're building an app, you want to sort of test out configuration for a client or something, the free tier is actually there for you to do that too. Excellent. So, how many people have seen this?
Jeez, all right.
How many people saw the video?
So we will have iPads obviously running. So come over to IBM as well as the HCL area, and this is one of the things that we're continuing to invest in. So we're iOS now, very focused on Droid as well. And I keep on, every time we pull this up, then the next question is, I left my phone.
Yeah,
when are you going to do it on the phone, right? So we're already prototyping and working through getting it actually on your actual phone as well. So that will not be for V10. My guys will kill me if I say that, as long as you will too. But we are working aggressively in parallel on that as well. But for us, I think this was our first real good example with the node work of actually what we've been doing, right? And so we're going to continue to invest there, but this is just one of the things that we're excited about that's coming out in the future.
And it's really exciting for me because I keep getting these emails from the salespeople that said, "Oh, did you know XYZ Corporation have just heard about this? Yeah. They want to talk to someone about it." Right? Because it really means is, as Fabrice mentioned, they don't need to rewrite those apps, right? Many of them are considering, a huge investment rewriting their apps, and they don't need to do that. They can run it unchanged. They can still take advantage of all that wonderful offline capability immediately. So, good news. All right, so, one of the things that we heard in the jams, other than, requirements, concerns, all the rest of it, was really around the go-to-market. And hopefully, how many people have been out to Destination Domino?
No.
A few of you.
Okay,
Okay.
that's a good amount.
Well, there's a couple of important things here. One of which is, how many people are thinking, well, when's the beta coming out? That's like a universal question. All right, so here's the deal then. Right, so we're going to announce the beta soon. We're working with HCL on the process and putting all the pieces together. There's going to be 2 betas, but how you're going to find out about the beta is you need to go to Destination Domino here, ibm.com/Destination Domino, and you need to sign up for the newsletter. If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get notified every single time that we do an update to the site. And that's how you will find out when the beta is coming out. And there'll be a sign-up process, and you'll sign up for the beta program. If you're lucky enough to participate, you'll get into the beta 1, or you're lucky enough to get into the second round of beta, right? And that's how it's going to happen. Right? So we're not ready to make an announcement today. We don't have a URL for you, but it's coming, and this is how you'll gain access to it.
Well, you've already showed, though, that it's June, right? Yeah. I mean, so it's right around the corner, right? So it's not far at all. Yeah. And I think the key is that the first beta, as Andrew noted, will have nominations that'll come in, and then the second beta, which we're going to be targeting for the mid-July timeframe, will be an open beta at that point. And frankly, this gives us an opportunity for us to still have a couple months where we can make adjustments based on what you find. Look, my positioning is I want you to find problems, right? And this is what I've been telling the development team. Let's give them the code, let them break it. I'd rather have you guys break it than all of our customers be impacted by it. Right?
That's all good news. Oh yeah, the one thing I just want to mention as well, I mean, none of this would have been possible without our fabulous marketing department, and there's 3 or 4 of them actually here today, so I want to give a shout out to them for doing that. There's also a thing called the Yellow Suitcase as well. Does anyone know what the Yellow Suitcase is? No. So it's a whole series of branding that the marketing team is going to make available to you. So this PowerPoint template you see we're using, that's all part of the Yellow Suitcase. And there'll be other merchandising, branding type of stuff that you'll be able to take advantage of as well. As you saw, Bob was modeling one of the pieces of merch today. Right? So the idea is you can take it and you can start using it in your presentations. You can start using it with
Is that available now?
Soon, right? Guys, soon. Very soon.
Cool. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. Your turn.
All right. So, how many of you seen the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? All right. We've got a good amount, right? So we have at HCL and our organization's called CWP, and one of the things we wanted to do again to bring our customers and partners closer is we're going to be hosting a 2-day event at our facility outside of Boston, where we're going to be actually handing out 100 golden tickets. So there'll be 100 people. This will be invite-only event where for 2 days we're going to have those people will have access to the beta before anybody else. They will see demos and real working code that the development team is working on. It's literally going to be in the lab. And then on the second day, we're going to conduct a hackathon. And what we're planning to do is take everything that we build at that hackathon and actually post it to OpenNTF. And one of the things you're going to hear more and more about us as we go along in this journey is how we're going to focus on open source much more. So there's going to be a lot more around that. We'll be handing out some of these this week. For those who are not, fortunate enough to get a golden ticket, we will be taking a lot of the content that we'll actually be leveraging over those 2 days, and we'll be pushing it out to other events. So we're excited about this. There's going to be, you'll see some short skits and videos that Jason Gary's gone from Mr. Paint to an Oompa Loompa, if you guys want to see that. It's for real, by the way. And again, I think, one of the things, and Theo said this, right? Our positioning at HCL is work real hard, but let's play harder, right? So you're going to see more of these types of things from us as we try to bring the community back together and really reinvigorate what was the way things were 3, 4, 5 years ago.
But I think we already have a theme for version 11 though, right?
We do.
Yes, correct. Okay. All right, so just to reiterate, there are 19 sessions out there, with HCL and IBM. lots of more information to be revealed. Probably too many to call out specifically, but the big things, lots around TCO. There's some great roundtables and presentations about application development and full stack and what's happening with Node that myself and Andrew Davis and Jason are doing. We're also doing a session on low code. I mean, a lot of these sessions are feedback sessions, right? Really giving us feedback on version 10, but also that goes into our backlog and some of the ideas and some of the research work about what we do next as well. So come and join the sessions, play full out, have some fun, drink. That's right.
That was one of them, right?
Yeah, Teo said do that as well. So you can join us. So lastly, just to reiterate the point that version 10 is part of Domino 2025. It's the first installment. I think it's a really good first step. Can you agree? Yeah. So there's more to come. There's more to come. It's only going to get better, right, Richard?
Oh,
and it's only going to get better with your help. So we're going to announce the beta very shortly, but as I mentioned, if you want to know about the beta and sign up for the beta, and you know it's coming in June sometime, then go out to Destination Domino, check it out, sign up for the newsletter, and then you won't miss it. I'm sure people will mention it on social media, but that's the channel of communication. So with that, we hand over to this man. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. And while Libby is setting up all the sponsors, lining up all the sponsors for Workspace sponsoring on the right, so 1 or 2 people per sponsor, line up by booth number, and Libby will arrange that. I'm going to give a kind of present to all the speakers we had so far. It's a goodie bag, and the most important thing in it is dozen chocolate. There you go, Bob. Thank you, guys. See you too. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. And one for you. Thank you.
Stop for recording, taking pictures. Periscope. Oh, it's Periscope.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, everybody stand up for 10 seconds. You got to be awake to hear the sponsors. Everybody awake? Eyeballs open? All wiggled out? Okay, sit back. You know how important the sponsors are. And I know you heard earlier Teo talking about the speed sponsoring that happens this evening that of course you're going to stay for. This is not speed sponsoring. Oh no, this is warp speed sponsoring. That means they get 30 seconds to hook you and make sure that you want to come visit them and know how important they are to our community. So first, you ready? Ready? It's not that one. Over here. There we go. All right, Pen Agenda, welcome. 30 seconds. Go.
Well, thanks a lot for coming. I'm happy to introduce you to the new products, which you will see when you visit our booth. We're super happy that we have 6 more sessions to come. Yesterday we had the application transformation workshop. Go into the Engage app, check for the Pen Agenda sessions, and visit our 8 people at the booth. We're here to help and listen and to share information with you. There is a lot to tell, believe me.
My name is Bob Kerrey. I am the Chief Creative Officer at Red Pill Now. And for those of you who know us, our solutions, our services, every single member of our team, you know that we're just a little bit radical. And that's by design. And if you don't know us, we want to fix that. So come by our booth and talk to us. Let's get to know each other, and I hope you have a great conference.
Hi there. Ahoy there, shipmates, rather. My name's Ben Paul. I'm an IT wrangler at LDC Buyer. You can recognise us by our very red logo. It's very red. We do application migration, modernisation, coexistence. Just come and talk to us, come to our booth, and you can admire our colleague Mark's very unique, individual, interesting little things. I shall say no more, but we're going to be giving some of them away over the course of the next 2 days. So do come by. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Vlad. I'm from Saiwan. We have a great solution of two-factor authentication for your modernized web applications and IBM Verse. And we have also great monitoring, self-healing solution and tools for performance tuning and upgrade your applications to Domino 10 and any version. So enjoy the event.
Well, hello, I'm one of the Peters in the room here. And last year, you may remember, I actually talked with Alexa on the stage. But this year, we've upgraded from artificial intelligence to actual intelligence. So joining me this year is Amanda.
Thanks, Peter. I'm Amanda. Come and talk to us on the booth and we can have a real conversation about crossbow mail signature. See you later. We've also got, what's it called? An Amazon.
Time's up.
Yes. All right.
Hello. I'd like to introduce. Oh, we stopped. I'd like to introduce Egla Abramsikaite, my new colleague. So I'm just going to ask her, Egla, you've been writing a lot about company culture. What do you find so fascinating?
Well, apparently not everyone knows that such a thing as company culture exists. But either way, it has a huge impact on organization and its collaboration. So keep that in mind.
So if you want to learn more why this is important, come visit the Silverside booth or our session right after this one and later this afternoon. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, 3 things about Workplace On. It's Domino. It handles the content you create, you share, you work around, collaborate around. It has a mobile app, so now you can add to that list pin login, push notifications, and easy deployment. So come by our booth, see your new app. This is Workplace On.
Hello. Good day, everybody. My name is Mark from eOffice. A couple of weeks ago, we announced and launched Bots as a Service. Based on the Watson platform, everybody is able to build their own endpoint solution, aka a bot in this case, on the platform. You can ask Thomas or Melissa to build in a couple of minutes. So get to our booth, I would say.
Hi, I know you all expect Felix, but he's not here, so this presentation will be a little bit quicker today.
Connections. If you want help introducing your users to connections, come to us. If you want to clean up your connections content, if you want to copy and merge it, come to us.
And of course, we know all about the IBM Connections Engagement Center. Thanks.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome from the Riva EMEA team. Today we would introduce our integration for CRM and email system on a server level, leveraging the existing Domino and Smart Cloud server infrastructure. So come to our booth, learn more, listen to us, get in touch. Where are your pain points in integrating and synchronizing the core silos? And also happy to, if you join my session in the late afternoon about more or less the same.
Hello, good morning. I'm Jared. I'm a senior consultant for Kudos and ISW from Australia. You might know Kudos from badges and thanks and awards and analytics in the connection space, help driving adoption. This week we've got some new features coming out in the Kudos brand, from end-to-end ideation, also some Buzzy app development platform, anything from citizen app dev to enterprise integration. One thing we're announcing is Watson Workspace.
Okay, they're not there. So we have to wait 30 seconds.
Gotta wait 30 seconds. So you get some snappy patter for 30 seconds. Why don't you give the sponsors who've been up here one more 5-second round of applause? Very good. All right. Okay, you give them a 10-second round of applause because we still have 10 more seconds to go. We could do another stretch, but they might not be sitting down in time for you. And then they'd be wiggling when you were trying to talk. And yeah, never mind. All right. Next, we have BCC. There you go.
Migration, I hear some shout, but why do they put Domino in doubt? BCC solutions are a big hit, so stop rattling on about all this. Sure, real-time monitoring and prevention brings your servers a new dimension. Unattended server restarts are no luck, but you have a log for the auditors. So what the future holds in Connections Cloud is something that makes BCC quite proud. With user creation, we raise the bars, so the job doesn't become a pain in the, after all this, my friendly geeks, come to our booth and take a peek.
What a tough act to follow up on. I'm Jens from On-Time Group Calendar. I hope that the name kind of gives away what we do. We are all about providing an overview of team schedules, finding available time slots. For those of you who know us, and probably even customers, hopefully even customers, come see us. We are providing new versions of more or less all of our modules, add-ons, and we have some new stuff in line, specifically Kate.
Hello, warm welcome from the GroupWave team. Come over to our booth and check out how we put the new oxygen in your Domino applications, how we refresh them, how we extend them, and how we enrich them. Also tomorrow we give a demo and with more explanation about our tool. Come to the nice room above in here to have a nice view and have a view on our tool. Thank you.
Nice and chilly in here. Good morning. Who here has ever used the White Tray tools? Awesome. A lot of stuff happened since the last time we were here. White Tray went from orange to pink. I went from orange to protesting. And our tools went truly enterprise. So one of the things we can do is we can help you become GDPR compliant, thousands of databases, search full text index or formulas or custom applications, justify or classify your emails by size and age. Come see us at the booth. Thank you.
Last but not least, please everyone stand up. We need to give a roaring applause for the 43% of newcomers. App Fusions is very simple. App Fusions. Hashtag integration, hashtag digital workplace. That's it. Thank you. 43%.
She gave me 6 extra seconds there. So we get to welcome Teo back up. Thank you for appreciating all of the sponsors.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. Please visit their booths. Enjoy the rest of the 2 days, and I think we definitely need a break now. Thank you very much. All the champions, please come on up on stage. We're going to take a group picture of all the champions.